All right. Well, welcome to Tim Spies Sensei. Thank you very much for being with us here today.
Thank you.
Um, Tim is the author of a newly published book, and we'll be talking about his book today. But first, let's start with just a brief Aikido bio for you. Tell us about yourself.
Well, actually, it's a bit of a funny story because I was involved in Shotokan karate for all through high school and all through college. Excuse me. And in college, a buddy of mine suggested I try this art that he had come across called Aikido. And I said, I'm not interested. I like where I'm at. And he pushed and pushed and pushed. And finally, I gave in and went and took a class in Aikido. And he said, "What do you think?" And I said, "This is not for me. I'm sorry. It's nice art. That's fine, but not for me." And I went about my way. Fast forward to maybe 1981, and I'm out of school back home. And I saw a martial arts demonstration being advertised near my home. I went and saw an Aikido demonstration and immediately fell in love with it and signed up literally on the spot and gave up karate and still doing Aikido.
All these years.
All these years.
Oh, that's wonderful. All right. So this book, Peace, Medicine for a Sick World, written by you, edited by your son, Ben.
Yes. Yes.
And with this calligraphy image on the front of the book, and I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit about this.
Well, that was my attempt at first practicing the Enzo and just working through it, iteration after iteration after iteration, trying to do what I felt was right for me. And eventually I said, well, I got another idea. Let's try this. And I put the peace symbol in the middle of it. And one thing led to another. And I sort of had that on a shelf somewhere in my files of stuff that I start and never complete. And then the book came along and I had to come up with a cover art. And I thought of that and just incorporated it. Nothing really special about it.
Well, you make kind of some interesting points in the book about where the peace symbol comes from and about the Enso circle and whether it's finished or not joined.
Yeah, it's in it. Toyota Shihan, my original instructor, used to say that it's popular. Everybody knows what Enzo is. It's a moment in time, a moment of what you're feeling, a moment of your energy at that moment, at that time, never to be experienced again, kind of thing. So put your whole heart into it and let the intention take you through the circle. And that's what attracted me to practicing that and seeing what that would do for me. And the piece just sort of fell into it because at that time I was involved in writing the book and putting things together for the book. It all sort of just melded together for me, and that was the result. The shadow was actually my arm when I was taking a picture of what I had done, and I tried and tried and tried to take the picture to use for the cover and not have that shadow there. But then at some point I said, I kind of like it. It's kind of like the darkness passing. So I left it. And I'm not an artist by any stretch. But at that moment, I said, I kind of like that. So I kept it.
And I don't know if everybody does know what the Enso is. So Enso is this circle, which is a calligraphy shape, right?
Right.
And you say in the book that if the circle is not completed with a brushstroke. You see it just doesn't quite fully connect. It has a
Yeah,
meaning.
some Enzos are completed, some are not.
Mhm.
To me, the uncompleted Enzo sort of represents work still to do. I my work is not complete.
Mhm.
Been around this art for a long time, and it's still not complete, and may never be. And so that sort of resonated with me, resonated with the idea of trying to find peace in our life
Mhm.
is never complete. We can maybe never fully get to that point, even though we have to keep at it, pushing and pushing and pushing.
Cool. I like that concept as far as peace goes. It's an ongoing pursuit, not an end state that we can arrive at.
Sure, sure.
So in the book, you mentioned that one of the things that prompted you to begin thinking about peace was an experience you had in Brussels.
Mm.
Want to tell me about that?
Um, in 2016, Toyota Sensei and I were traveling to Belgium for a seminar that was going to be led by Kobayashi Shihan from Japan. Him and his son, Hiroaki, were going to be running the seminar. And there were probably 200, 250 people that were supposed to be attending. And so we went. And our flight, oddly enough, was 20 minutes late. And on our final approach, as we're landing, the explosion occurred. And we had no idea, but we sat on the tarmac for about an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever it was. And people's phones started buzzing while we were there. And then we knew what had happened.
Which was what had happened?
There was a terrorist attack in the airport. Somebody planted a bomb and it went off. A bunch of people got hurt and killed. And we got shepherded to a hangar where we had to sit for more hours. More planes were coming in, more people were coming in. Situation there was getting a little bit out of control, and we left. I asked Toyota Sensei, we need to leave. It's not a good place for us. And we've got people picking us up in the airport, and we don't know what's going on with them. So we left the hangar, found a bus, got to a train. We ended up in Leuven, I think is a little bit northeast of Brussels. I don't quite remember. But the next order of business was to find a beer and sit down and relax and see if we can somehow connect up with our people. We knew what had happened, but there was a lot of chaos going on, so we were not quite sure what's to happen. And we finally connected up with our people. The seminar was, for all intents purposes, canceled. Some people still attended. And while we're sitting at this cafe, we finally got in touch with the people that were going to pick us up. And we were able to connect with them. We got more answers as to what was going on. And decided that we would continue forward with the seminar with whoever was in town. And at that point, whoever was going to teach it. And we had no clue. But the next day, a few of us showed up, maybe 20, 25 of us showed up, and you teach. Okay, I'll teach for a little bit, then you teach. And we held our seminar, and the idea was we're going to continue despite what you try to do. We're still going to move forward, and whatever it is, it will be good. Pardon me. So we did that seminar for the 3 days, but what got me going the first couple of nights there, I literally couldn't sleep. We heard sirens all night long. Some close, right underneath what felt like and sounded like right beneath the window of the hotel, some further away, I suppose. But I couldn't sleep. I don't think I slept for 2 days. And I'd lay in bed, an idea would hit my mind, and I would get up and write some notes. And I'd try to go back to sleep, and something else would hit, and I'd write some notes. And so I kept doing that, and the book is the result of that. I felt somehow that I needed to produce something about peace. And this was my result of it 6, 7 years later.
All right, that's a great background insight into the, what prompted you to start reflecting on peace and the need for peace. So in the book, you outline this model of 2 pyramids to create peace. And you talk about creating peace in the midst of chaos. So tell me a little bit about the bottom pyramid.
Well, the whole pyramid idea came from my first instructor in Aikido. His name was Glenn Matsuda. He's still around. He still teaches. In fact, you and I just took a seminar with him.
He's wonderful, yes.
Yeah, he's a wonderful human being. And he asked me to make him a pyramid at the end of class one time, years and years ago.
Like a physical pyramid?
Physical pyramid, yeah. And I looked at him with, what kind of eyes? What do you want me to do? And he's just do it. So I did. I made him a pyramid. And then he had this of the pyramid being a representation of our Kihon Waza, our very basic techniques. And he mentioned that the four walls of the pyramid were form, speed, power, and timing. That you needed all of those to be able to reach that apex of the pyramid. And he felt that once you get to that point, that's mastering your Kihon Waza. That's essentially black belt when you first get black belt. And from that moment on, everything becomes your Shugyo pyramid. And that rests on top of the base. I have one here.
Aha. There they are, the 2 pyramids.
Waza. Yeah.
Which says Aikido on the pyramid. Yeah.
This one says Ryoshinkan.
Uh-huh.
And this is the Shugyo pyramid. And his concept of that was it's a very delicate balance having one pyramid sit on the other pyramid, but this upper pyramid continues to infinity. So these walls continue on forever. This actually reaches some sort of point of, you might say completion, but not really completion, okay? But this pyramid goes forever and extends into infinity. That was his concept. Being an engineer, that resonated with me because I'm very visual. I have to see it and feel it and everything else. And so I modified that concept of the 2 pyramids for this book, changed some of the ideas of what the walls and the foundation and the upper walls represent.
Okay, so tell me about the bottom pyramid of creating peace.
Well, we have to start with the foundation. The foundation here are the 4 basic principles of Aikido. from Koichi Tohei, extend ki, relax completely, keep 1 point, and weight underside. The 4 basic principles are where and what we start with in order to be able to do our physical technique properly. And if we are going to do our physical technique properly with those 4 basic principles, we can extend that into our personal lives, our emotional lives as well. Because to me, the physical aspects of Aikido, the emotional aspects of Aikido are hand in hand. We think we all know this here. They go hand in hand. Application of Aikido is not necessarily physical. Application of Aikido is how we carry ourselves in our daily life. We all have stories of people asking, do you use Aikido? Have you used Aikido? Well, yes, I do Aikido every day. But it's true, right? We laugh at that, but it's true. We practice our Aikido in how we relate to our partners, how we relate to our coworkers, how we relate to issues within ourselves, the conflicts that may be medical conflict, how we deal with that is all based on those 4 basic principles of Aikido.
Okay, so
Relax.
let's take one as an example. Let's say keep 1 point.
Keep 1 point.
Yeah. So physically, there's a meaning, but what is the meaning that relates to peace?
Being centered. I think being centered in being able to absorb whatever conflict is approaching us. Of course, not necessarily agreeing with it, but recognizing that it's there, recognizing that I am under attack, and if I can remain centered, if I can remain calm, if I can extend my ki, then I can deal with that conflict in a much easier manner than immediately reacting to it and everything tightening up. Okay. So we see and feel on the mat somebody attacking us. And we can, if we're relaxed enough and we're centered enough, we can deal with that attack. Same holds true in our personal emotional lives as well, whether it's a medical conflict or an emotional conflict with ourselves or with somebody else.
Okay. So if I come at you, Tim, you're a jerk, right? That's a psychological attack.
Sure. I might be. But I might not be.
But you might not be.
Yeah. The fact that you think I'm a jerk is okay for you to think that, but for me to think that I'm not a jerk, if I let you convince me that I'm a jerk, then you are controlling the situation. But if I recognize and have a thick enough skin and I'm relaxed enough in my own body, not everybody is going to like me. Some people are going to think that I'm a jerk, and that's okay. That's you. That's not me. I feel pretty confident that I'm friggin' awesome.
Okay, great. So that's the foundation of the pyramid of peace, is those 4 principles and their emotional corollaries. What are the 4 walls?
Okay, so the 4 walls are, we'll go back to this again. Breathing is 1, posture, awareness, and I have to and meditation. Sometimes I have to read and meditation. So breathing is key. That helps us relax. It helps us coordinate mind and body. Posture is important. How we carry ourselves, how we go through walking down the streets of Chicago, for example. How we carry ourselves is going to You walk down the street with your head hunched, shoulders, head down like this. You're looking like you're willing or wanting to be attacked. But you walk down the street with your head up, kind of scanning what's going on. That's a self-defense mechanism that people are going to see, and maybe that's not a place I want to go. So that brings in awareness, being aware of what's going on in your surroundings, not only externally, but internally as well. How do I feel right now? Right now, I feel a little bit nervous. Okay, that's okay. I'm just going to continue on breathing, maintaining my posture, and go through this exercise. So those are what I consider the very basics of what we need to do in order to get to this point here, where it may not be complete that you feel peace, but you can actually start to get the work in on the upper pyramid so that you can maintain that as much as you can.
Okay, so it sounds like the lower pyramid not only relates to the physical principles of Aikido on the mat, but it's about being able to achieve a state of calm inside of ourselves.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So
we
then
have
that
to get there. We
yes,
have to do that first. Sorry, I don't mean to.
no, go ahead.
We have to get to that point first, because this is the point where hopefully you will be able to say, I'm sorry you think I'm a jerk. Okay, but I'm not a jerk. I feel comfortable. So this is where you get when you get to this point. Now you can truly say that and even believe that. So that's where we want to try to get to. Not so easy.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that happen in our day-to-day lives that throw us off balance and we lose our calm.
Well, again, this pyramid is very balanced. When you do get to this point, this is the balanced pyramid. So it's theoretically stable. This one is where the real hard time comes in keeping this from falling sideways, rolling over, whatever. That's where the real work comes in.
So
you stay long
about
enough in Aikido, everybody's going to get to this point. You stay long enough in Aikido, this may or may not work out for you, right?
So tell us about that upper pyramid.
Well, I consider the upper pyramid the Shugyo pyramid. Okay. And Shugyo is to me is a lot more than just intense training. Okay, Shugyo is almost a mindset where you have to continually you have to make a decision to work. If you look at the Japanese characters of Shugyo, there's actually a couple of different ways to write it. And one of the ways that they can write it, and I wish I would have had I should have thought about writing it out. But one of the ways to look at it is working to achieve a goal. So for example, going to college to get a degree. That's one way to look at Shugyo. You're going to go through all of that work and you're going to obtain a degree when you're done. Another way to look at Shugyo is I'm going to go to college because I want to learn, and I want to learn these subjects, and I'm going to keep training, keep working without necessarily, oh, there you go, thank you, without necessarily a goal in mind other than to keep working and keep learning and keep expanding my mind. So I think of it as two different ways to look at it. I prefer the second way.
So is that represented by this kanji here?
Yes, Shugyo. Yes.
Okay, so
I haven't had enough coffee yet today.
So the upper pyramid is that sense of expansion, of continued expanding of awareness.
Yes. Growth.
Growth, personal growth. Okay.
Right.
All right. And so if the bottom pyramid represents our ability to bring calm to ourselves and maintain a calm state, then the upper pyramid represents would you say the application of that to situations in our lives?
I would, and I made the four walls. I'm drawing a blank completely now. So,
Maintain calm.
yeah, right. Strength, bravery, compassion, and forgiveness. The strength, bravery, and compassion actually came from a quote of Toyota Shihan's. And again, I wish I had that handy. But he was talking about the martial arts in this quote and why we do what we do. And he mentioned strength, bravery, and compassion as something we become, not something that we do. And I added forgiveness because in many cases we have to learn to forgive ourselves more than anything else, and allow ourselves to deal with difficult situations, maybe even in the past, that we are sorry for or still bother us or whatever. We have to somehow let that go. And to me, forgiveness is the avenue to be able to do that. So I always wish Toyota Shihan would have had forgiveness in there, but he didn't. So I added that.
All right. Well, thank you. That's a wonderful look at the sort of underpinnings of this book and what you can expect to learn in it. I just wanted to give the audience here a chance to ask you any questions before we close.
Sure.
Laura, did you have something?
I know Laura put something in the chat.
Yep, I saw that. Tim, I would ask, how does your training obligate you to bring it forth, bring your upper pyramid out to the world, in order to have an impact? Is the price you pay for doing the work and getting your normal, point at the top pyramid done, that you then have to go do something with it?
Sensei, I missed a bunch of it because you froze up.
Okay. I was asking if your training, if getting your base pyramid established has been accomplished, is there a sense of obligation that because I'm in this position and able to make a difference, I therefore really kind of have to?
Yeah, I believe that. Everybody is different, of course. People can think what they want to think, but in my mind, for me, I am obligated to continue to try to expand Aikido and the principles and philosophy to others. And again, I go back to Toyota Shihan, who said, anybody can do this art. We can train a monkey to do this art, but to have it impact your life to a point where it will change you and then give you that ability to potentially change others, we are obligated to do that. And that is the ultimate goal of doing a martial art. Now, it doesn't make it wrong for somebody to not feel that way or to not choose to do that. But I think it's maybe a step more that we do look at it that way and do that to the best of our abilities.
No, I'm used to drawing lines between Aikido practice, Aikido principles, and the work done by Martin Luther King or Mohandas Gandhi, that and basically what we learn to do on the mat is directly analogous to what Gandhi did to get the British out of India, and what King did during the civil rights movement. And there's very strong parallels there. And so the connection to peace, besides just in the name of Aikido as is typically translated, seems, I mean, those parallels seem very strong.
Right. Yeah, I believe so. I think I'm getting a question in here.
Laura says, thinking about a physical structure, in order for the top pyramid to grow, the bottom pyramid would have to grow to match. Does this fit the metaphor? What do you think?
Well, that's a good question. It's a great question. I think yes. I think yes, it does. Because again, let's go back to the physical aspect of Aikido. Our ki no waza is always expanding, should be expanding. Our technique should always be getting stronger, should always be getting more fluid. We should always be more relaxed. All of that is going to help expand that lower pyramid this way so that the work up above can expand as well. That's a great analogy, and I have not thought that, but Laura, you're absolutely right. Yeah.
That's for the second edition.
Number two. I don't know about that. Actually, I have to say, I am working on book number 2.
All right.
Book number 2 was actually book number 1 that I never finished because I felt I was never a good enough writer.
Mhm.
So I shelved that and then completed this one and whatever. So, yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being with us today, Tim. Really
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
Thank you.
And your book is available on Amazon, yes?
Amazon.com. Just Google the name and you'll find it.
Okay.
But if you each send me your address, you can send me your address to tjspies@icloud.com. I will mail you a copy.
All right. Thank you very much.
All
We'll
right.
stop
Thank
the
you.
recording now, and we will be posting this on our Mighty Networks along with a link to your book.
Beautiful. Thank you.